How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down Teddiursa Community Day. Now with that being said, as always, if you guys do end up enjoying this video, if you do find it helpful, please make sure to smash that like button down below. It helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, this comm day is going to take place on November 12th from 2 to 5 p.m. your local time. And the special bonuses are going to be as follows. We're going to have 3-hour lure modules once again, along with 3-hour incense. The special bonus is going to be 3 times catch Stardust, just like we had last comm day with Dratini, so really happy to see that. Additionally, we're also going to be getting 2 times catch candy, along with a 2 times chance to receive extra large candy from catching, if you are level 31 or higher. We're also going to be getting 2 special trades during this window, from 2 to 10 p.m. specifically, along with a 50% reduction in Stardust when trading Pokemon, so that's really awesome as well. And then finally, we're going to be getting 5 free Teddiursa from Snapshots. Now, like most comm days that we've had this year outside of the Community Day Classics, we're also going to be having a part 2 to this comm day. And this is going to take place from 5 to 10 p.m. your local time. So basically how this works, for those of you who are a little bit unfamiliar, is that this portion of the event is going to be specifically focused on in-person raids, with the featured raid boss being Ursaring. So when Ursaring is defeated, Teddiursa will spawn in the wild within 300 meters of that gym. And based on previous community days, this does extend pretty far and hits most of the relevant spawn points. Now if you do combine this with lure modules, those Pokemon are also going to be Teddiursa as well, so it does actually work pretty well. Although I really wouldn't recommend using more than your free passes on this portion of the event, and I would really only do it if you weren't able to play during the 2 to 5 p.m. window, because you'll most likely be able to get enough shiny Teddiursa during that time. Next up, let's talk about the exclusive moveset for the final evolution of Teddiursa, which is going to be Ursaluna. So this is going to be the first time we see Ursaluna in Pokemon GO. This was a evolution that was only given during the Legends Arceus game, so we've previously never even seen Ursaluna in any of the other Pokemon games. So it's actually really exciting to see this one come into Pokemon GO. Now in order to get the exclusive moveset High Horsepower on your Ursaluna, you will have to evolve it anytime between 2 to 10 p.m. of the respective time window, and again, that is going to be your local time. And this move is going to do 110 damage in raids and 100 damage in PvP. But we'll talk a little bit more in terms of its meta relevance here in a second. Now in order to evolve Ursaluna in Pokemon GO, you will have to meet these requirements. So first of all, you're going to need 100 candy for Teddiursa, and you're also going to have to evolve Ursaring during a full moon. Thankfully, during this time window, or sorry, I should say during comm day and then even a little bit afterwards, until November 13th at 6 a.m. your local time, we're going to have a full moon in game. So if you don't want high horsepower for whatever reason, you can just evolve Ursaluna afterwards. But if you do want high horsepower, then you can just evolve it during the time window from 2 to 10 p.m. So if you don't actually evolve your Ursaring into Ursaluna during this time window, I'm not really sure when we're going to get another full moon in game. So definitely make sure to try and evolve at least one if you do want that Pokedex entry. Next up, let's actually talk about the meta relevance for Ursaluna, since this is going to be a new Pokemon in the game, and it's also going to be pretty good. I mean, its base stats do look pretty nice anyways. So let's take a look at that right now. So for Ursaluna, its max CP at level 50 is going to be 4358, eclipsing the 4000 CP range, very nice to see. Its attack stat is going to be 243, its defense stat is going to be 181, and its stamina or HP stat is going to be 277. So just looking at the base stats, Ursaluna looks like a fantastic Pokemon as long as it gets a good move pool. As of right now, the only move that we know for Ursaluna is going to be the exclusive move High Horsepower, which means it should be getting at least 2 fast moves and at least 3 more charge moves. Now taking a look at Ursaluna in the main series games, we can look at the move pool here and kind of see what we're potentially going to be getting. So it does get access to Tackle. That could definitely be a fast move that we do see on Ursaluna. So in regards to PvP, that can definitely be good for it. Now, it also gets access to Shadow Claw. Ursaring also had access to Shadow Claw, but unfortunately it doesn't get access to a ground type fast move. It doesn't get access to Mud Shot or Mud Slap. Now unfortunately for Ursaluna, this does kind of suck because it is a normal and ground type Pokemon, so because it won't get access to Mud Slap or Mud Shot, it won't benefit from Stab. So we can see here though that it is going to get access to Shadow Claw, which isn't the worst thing in the world because Shadow Claw in my opinion would be really good for PvP. Although in the raid/gym meta, that is debatable. So what I went ahead and did is I compared Ursaluna to the other ground type Pokemon that benefited from Stab, both with a ground type fast move and a ground type charge move. Now we also have to consider that Ursaluna is not going to perform as well as these ground type Pokemon, even with Shadow Claw, so you kind of have to rank it down a little bit because, you know, in terms of using it against a Pokemon that's weak to ground, you want to have both a ground type fast move and a ground type charge move. Because it has Shadow Claw, I can't really say for sure if it's going to do a lot more damage or a lot less damage, depending on the raid boss, it will definitely vary. So just keep in mind that Ursaluna, even though it's placed below Shadow Mamoswine, it's probably a little bit worse than that in terms of using it as a ground type attacker primarily. But let's just say, for example here, Ursaluna did match up, right, and Shadowclaw was just as good. We can see that Garchomp, Landorus in its Therian form, and Groudon all rank above Ursaluna with high horsepower, and I even included Earth Power as well on Ursaluna because it could potentially get that moveset too. It does have it in the main series games. Now if it does actually get Earth Power, this would be kind of bad for high horsepower because Earth Power does perform better. So, having this be an exclusive Comday moveset would kind of defeat the purpose of making it, like, important anyways if it does end up getting Earth Power. So I can't imagine that they would give it Earth Power in-game, maybe like Bulldoze instead. But again, just like looking at the comparison here, we can see that it really doesn't rank that well compared to some of the other ground type attackers. You're going to have better options out there. Now, with that being said, that is just regular Ursaluna. If we look at Shadow Ursaluna, this is a different story, right? Because even if I do deduct a little bit of its DPS times TDO, it is still miles above Garchomp with Mudshot and Earth Power. Now keep in mind, we haven't gotten Shadow Garchomp, Shadow Groudon, Shadow Landorus, anything like that. So eventually in time, this will obviously become a little bit different. Now here's the thing though, because Shadow Ursaluna is so much better than Garchomp with Mudshot and Earth Power, even though it doesn't have a ground type fast move, it is still going to be one of the best ground type attackers in the game. Specifically Shadow Ursaluna though, so like this is going to be quite an expensive investment opposed to the regular one, and you can't actually get Shadow Luckies in game, so yeah, it's going to be really, really costly. But, at the end of the day, guys, this is going to be in the top of the meta, assuming that this is a moveset that it actually gets. Once again, Shadowclaw has not been confirmed. It's a potential moveset we could get, and I'm pretty confident we're going to get Shadowclaw. Like, I would be really surprised if we didn't. So just taking a look at that and just basing off what we know so far, it looks pretty good, and definitely did not see this coming initially. We kind of had to wait for the high horsepower stats to get released, and assuming Niantic does not change anything before the release, and we still got about a few more days, right, until that event actually starts, we are looking pretty good with Shadow Ursaluna. Regular Ursaluna, I would probably say, is more or less a hit or a miss. It's still going to be pretty good if you guys don't have any of the other ground type attackers in the game, like Garchomp with Earth Power, Groudon, Landorus, and its Therian form are both legendary Pokemon. Rhyperior and Excadrill are a little bit more common to get, and you don't need any exclusive movesets on those either, so if you don't have those, then yeah, Ursaluna with high horsepower and Shadowclaw is still going to be pretty good. Now specifically in terms of PvP, it's a little bit more difficult to determine how good this Pokemon is going to be because we don't know the other movesets it's going to be getting, so even if it does get paired with high horsepower and something else, like if we look at the main series game movesets here, we can see that it gets access to Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Rock Slide, Thunder Punch. There's a lot of potential options that could make it pretty good. So pretty much in conclusion, we know very little about Ursaluna other than its base stats and exclusive moveset as of right now, which makes it a little bit difficult to determine how good it's going to end up being. Now what we do know though is that it's not going to be getting a ground type fast move, so it does make it objectively worse than Garchomp with Earth Power, Groudon, Landorus, and potentially even Rhyperior too. Shadow Ursaluna though, that's a different story. Even without a ground type fast move, this could definitely take the top spot in the ground type meta, and then when it comes down to PvP, there is a lot of unpredictability as of right now because we don't know the current move pool, but I would have to guess, like just my best estimated guess here, it's going to be viable. Like, I don't know if it's going to be like meta breaking, but it's not going to be terrible, that's for sure. If it at least gets Fire Punch as a potential moveset with high horsepower, that's going to be good. And then of course, if it gets Shadowclaw, or sorry, if it doesn't get Shadowclaw, then I'm completely wrong about all of this. It needs to get Shadowclaw as a fast move. If it doesn't get Shadowclaw as a fast move, then just forget everything I said right now, but I would be extremely surprised if Ursaluna did not get Shadowclaw. So anyways, that's pretty much going to be my analysis for Ursaluna based on what we know so far, but now let's go and take a look at some of the additional tips and tricks I have for you guys in terms of your Calm Day prep. So the first tip that I have for you guys is going to be to use the fast catch trick. With and without the AR method is fine, although I definitely recommend learning how to use the AR method. Gonna leave a link to that in the top right corner right now. So most of you probably already use this, but for newer players, I really recommend learning how to use this to increase your catch speed. It makes a massive difference. If you ever wonder how people catch so many Pokemon during these calm days, this is how they do it. The next tip that I have for you guys is going to be to create a search tag for all the Teddiursa you want to evolve after calm day. So once again, the original time window is going to be from 2 to 5 p.m. and then we're going to have part 2 from 5 to 10 p.m., which is specifically Ursa Ring and raids, which will then spawn Teddiursa in the local area for the next 30 minutes. So if you want to quickly check for your good IVs, I would recommend doing this. Type in the 3-star and 4-star, or just the 4-star, to find your best IV spreads or your potential 100% IV Pokemon. For PvP, it does work a little bit differently, so if you want a more in-depth analysis, I'm going to leave a link to a video in the top right-hand corner right now, and then in the description below. Make sure to check that out if you want to understand how to actually find good PvP IVs. The next tip that I have for you guys is going to be the Mega Evolution. There are going to be 3 Pokemon that you ideally want to use in terms of your Mega Evolution, because Teddiursa is a normal type Pokemon. So you have Mega Pidgeot, Mega Lopunny, and Mega Kangaskhan. If you have any of these at Mega Level 3, prioritize using that one over everything else for the increased chance at more extra large candy. Trust me guys, it makes a massive difference. And if you don't have any at Mega Level 3, just use your highest Mega level for the additional bonus as well. It really does help out. Next up, let's talk about storage space. So generally, I do recommend a minimum of 100 open spots, and if you're pretty good about this, 250 plus. If you're still having trouble though, I do have a full storage management guide, which again, I'm going to leave in the description down below, as well as in the top right corner right now. Next up, let's talk about bag space. So at the very minimum, you want to have a combination of 200 red Pokeballs, Great Balls, and Ultra Balls. And ideally, you would want to have 500 plus. That would be the best way to go into Calm Day. I would also recommend having Pineapple Berries ready as well, even though we are going to have double candy as a bonus. Having at least like 25 to 50 Pineapple Berries will definitely help you out, because Ursaluna does require 100 candy to evolve. And then finally, the last tip that I want to go over is going to be for the Picnicker Medal. Basically, what you want to do is you want to drop lure modules at your most popular grind spot right when the event starts. The Picnicker Medal requires 2,500 points to actually get it to Platinum, and the way that it works is that every single time somebody catches a Pokemon off your lure module, you get 1 point towards that medal. So because we have 3-hour lure modules and everybody's going to be out playing during Calm Day, if you drop your lures in a very popular grind spot, you can really make a lot of progress on this medal. This is pretty much how I got it to Platinum. But with that being said, that's pretty much everything I got for you guys in this video. If you want some more additional tips and tricks, check out these videos right here. But before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.